Well, it almost rained. It got cloudy after a cloudless morning and day. It was very hot, and all these clouds showed up, but not a single drop came out of them. And speaking about hot, so here's a problem. It has been corrected already, but of course for the betterment to show up, this will take a little while. So you can see that our Palovnia trees that are in their second year, so the beginning of the second year, they have turned yellow. There are several reasons. One is also a drastic change in temperature, which is also plausible because we went from very rainy and cold to very hot within 2 days. But then it seems that this is lack of water. And I think it's lack of water because what you can see here. So you see the yellow leaf there definitely has some issues there, and this is dry there at the end. So all that is growing around, of course, also needs water. And originally I thought once a week is enough, and no, it isn't. So I changed this so that we water this more frequently. Of course, we cannot go panic and do it daily when before we have been doing this once a week. So it needs to be gradually increased. And of course we also need to cut again all this Bermuda grass that has come up. It looks very, very nice. But of course the yellow leaves can be a little bit a shock. It's not supposed to be like that. But what is interesting, and therefore this is a learning experience here and not a failure or something like that. So these trees that are tall are now in their second year of growth. They have not received the technical cut. So this is real growth, second year, and they're quite tall. But this one here was toppled over by the horses. So involuntarily the technical cut happened. And you see, there's not a single yellow leaf. So this tree uses the root system from the year before, but is not as tall as the other ones. So what I assume is these taller trees have the root system after 1 year and a few months of growth, but it's not enough to sustain that fast growth, given that the moisture in the soil is not sufficient. While for this one it's not a problem, because it is half the size. The leaves are also much, much bigger, 3 times as big as the other ones. So this is a very important data point in the case that we grow these trees commercially. We definitely can use this knowledge. And there's no substitute for making the experience yourself. It's all nice and well what is written in books and what people who know about this stuff will tell you. They are not on your side. So, I mean physically, the place. They are certainly on your side in order to help you, but they're not familiar with your situation. So you have to learn the stuff yourself, and sometimes the hard way. Nothing has happened. These trees are here for biomass and shade, so there's absolutely no issue, and that is also why they are not being pruned. I did a little bit. I removed a few of the branches down there just to see, but this is not the management regime that would be required for the commercial stuff. So this is interesting. Don't call it a failure. It has provided valuable data. This is interesting. Someone ran this over. Might be the little ones while they were playing, likely. But this tree will come back, and I should stress this again so that you know about this. They are hollow. You see, the old trunk there is also hollow, and they grow very fast like a tube, and then after some time that hole in the middle gets filled. That is their way, like a bamboo, to grow very fast. They roam around here and nibble on the grass. Dogs do this, it's kind of a medicine. Helps their digestion as far as I know. And of course it smells interesting. So that is why they like to come here. And now they are here because I am here. This is this pack thing. Wherever I go, they go. If I sit down, they sit down. If I stand up, they stand up. If I go somewhere, then they will also go here, where I'm going. So, Knut, komm mal da raus. Geh mal weg. Aha. Gut. Wir wollen den Leuten hier was zeigen. So, here is another Palovnia, that's of the newer ones. And I removed a little bit of the chop and drop material around it so that it gets more sunlight. It was a little bit narrow, but it's coming up very nicely. And overall, this is growing very well, but I also had to water a little bit more over this very hot weekend. Today is Sunday. The interesting thing is that wherever there is a lot of sunflowers, like here, the sunflowers are keeping up very well, but when there is a mix or less sunflowers, like here, they got more affected by the heat than the sunflowers alone. So apparently the sunflowers are much better at shading the ground and conserving the moisture than the others. And the corn curled in a little bit. The sun hemp is underneath, so if you look down there, maybe I can take you into this jungle. So there is some sun hemp, but it's less tall and grew slower. If the autofocus will catch it. Well, I think you can see it. There you can see it. So this is quite small. And here at the edge you can definitely see that this is not happy. But I gave it a lot of water, and overnight condensation should also happen because the air is moist, and that should then help. But then it's not about all these plants, they are there for biomass. It is about the trees. So as long as the trees are happy, this is working out great. The plan here is to wait until the sunflowers has shown up and whatever makes seeds has made seeds. So the corn has cobs, the sun hemp has flowers and seeds, and also the sunflowers. I have another one in here. Nummer 8, geh mal da weg. Komm, Nummer 8. So, wollen wir nicht. Gut. Braver Hund. It's nice and cool in there. That's why I want to be at these places. But as you can see, I can tell them to come out and then everything is cool. So, regarding all these comments that we had lately about the little ones being dangerous. Yes, they are. Certainly. Every dog is. They are little wolves. Canis lupus familiaris is the scientific name, and Canis lupus is the actual wolf. So they are definitely wolves, and if you don't have a good relationship with them, then that's an issue. But they know me from the day they were born, so that means we are the same pack. And of course there's a ranking order, and I just have to make sure that I'm at the top, and then everything is okay, because that's what wolves and dogs want. You have to be their pack leader, and then there is absolutely no problem. It does not mean that you can control them absolutely, and they will always immediately obey any order given. No, they have their own brain, they have their instincts. So this is something that people sometimes forget, which is why we don't go with them without a leash somewhere. They live here in the compound, that is their territory, and that's it. The only thing that I am a little bit sorry about, because I didn't know and nobody advised, if they had been between sheep when they were puppies, we had sheep at the time, that would have been no problem, then they would definitely be imprinted to the sheep and would protect them instead of going after them like any other animal that they encounter. So by imprinting, you make sure that these dogs protect another species instead of hunting them. So you can imprint them to either sheep or chicken, and then they will defend that other species, kind of believing they are the same. This is how it works, and that is the reason why this type of work does not need any education. It's all by instinct. So they guard a flock of sheep after being imprinted as puppies to sheep, and then they got them. Don't expect them to hurt the sheep. They will just go wherever the sheep go. They are in between the flock and they just follow. They do nothing. They sleep and stand guard. Other dog breeds, like a border collie, they can be educated, and then they herd the sheep. Move them around, bring them here, move them to another place or whatever. This is not a herding dog. This is a guard dog, livestock guardian dog. So that means they attack whatever is deemed a threat to their flock, and that's it. Don't expect anything else. And of course, everything is a threat, except the humans they are familiar with and the members of their flock. Hence, here in Spain, there are signs out there in the countryside, around Madrid, it is very common, as I've been told, where people are informed that this is ranching territory. You are passing over somebody else's land, which is being used to keep livestock, and don't get close to a flock of sheep. Stay away. There are aggressive dogs inside, and they will attack you. So don't do this. And the sign says, if you're on a bicycle, get off. Walk. Do not drive your bicycles close to a flock of sheep. And try not to bring your own mascot. Don't bring your dog. Go somewhere else. And if you have to, then keep your dog on a short leash, and the moment you see a mastiff, back out. Go away. Don't get any closer. The dog will not come running at you. The dog will bark. And at that moment, you have to retreat immediately. And if you don't, it ends bad. That is what these signs are telling you. Spaniards know about that. Tourists might not. But then tourists will probably not go to these places where extensive livestock ranching is being done. This is usually in more remote areas, like we are at. So There are no people walking around the countryside. After all, there are fences. Every piece of land, ours, 45 hectares, is fenced. So you cannot simply walk across our land. And even the 500 hectare pieces or larger, they have a fence all around them. So you do not go there. That is elsewhere where you can simply cross the country on foot over other people's land. Not here. So it's a different situation. And therefore, this breed is very cherished. They are important to keep livestock safe. And it's working. So we do not use them for that because we were too stupid, I have to say. But everybody else around does. And I've talked to a few people, and that, what I just told you, is what they explain. So there you have it. This is a different situation. Here in the future garden area, the Paulownias are also growing very well. Some are still struggling. Here at the beginning there is one, but the color is now getting greener instead of yellow. And also the one there. The others have turned dark green, so that's very good. The sweet corn is also coming up. And the flowers that have been seeded in between, they are also there. Of course, there are no flowers yet. This is a native one from here, but the others, they will have to grow. Over there you can see the watermelon that is growing. I definitely need to fill the remainder there where we have the puddles, so that when the watermelon grows in that direction, it will not be in the way. So now that it's a little bit drier, I can take the rest of the fill out. I do this in the afternoon when I'm not busy with something else, and the guys have done other things in the morning. So I have declared this my job, and after all, it's fun and relaxing after sitting in front of a screen most of the time and doing IT stuff. I am developing this Granha EU software because I want this to be a product at some point. And it's not only a hobby, it's not only to manage our things, but of course our things are an inspiration and a guidance. So when I want to do something else, then I take the excavator and play a little bit with that. And that way I also do some physical things. There is all the vetiver around. So let me seize the opportunity and show you. So there is a lot more vetiver now that came from our zone A, where we are step by step removing the vetiver, splitting it up, and all the slips get planted in places like this one here. This is freshly planted, therefore the plants have to make roots and establish themselves. But this is a heat-loving plant, so a good amount of water. I gave them a lot of water today also. Together with the heat will definitely make this grow. It did over there where the dogs are. This is a week older. Then I can show you over here. Oh, and by the way, the sheep are now working on the parts that are closer to the compound. It's not that they are extremely afraid of the dog, as I figured. It's the heat. So whenever it is very, very hot, they try to be underneath the shade of the tree there in the background, the big one, that Kehigo. And when it's not so hot like right now, then they venture out and forage. And next week, Monday, the guys want to shear them. So probably next time you see them, they are naked. So here is the other patch with Paulownias and Sunhemp and friends. And as you can see, it is going very, very well. And for completeness sake, I need to walk in this treacherous terrain here and show you the other part, which is this one here. Yeah, there everything is also growing, and most of the palovnias are dark green, so everything is okay. And also what I see that in between the grasses, before I cut them down, this is also coming up. So there's nothing to complain, it's all working out. And again, we are trying to make soil here with this mix of these three species that grow tall, because a little seed makes a very tall plant, which is a lot of biomass. Chop and drop. And you might also notice that all the natural things are also growing quite well. But I also think that after tomorrow the sheep need to come out of this, because then they have munched on all the things, and before they start to do something else, it is better to take them out. What I noticed, I should mention that and do a long shot from here. I think they toppled over the old tree. Yes, so there in the background, sorry if this is now shaking a little bit, but there used to be a dead tree, and you see it's no more. Somehow they nibbled on it and it fell over. I probably will go in there, but not now, to see how that is. And this area also looks very beaten, because that is where the shade is, and they stand there and spend quite a bit of time on this berm. But this is where we want to seed Sunhemp and Friends, so it's not so bad. Of course that barren soil is now a little bit ugly, but there was not much to write home about in the first place, so it's not really an issue. So now let's see, where can I take you now? We are basically doing a little round here. Yeah, I think I take you to the entrance, but shaking camera is probably not so good. And Checker here also wants to have some attention, which is okay. Yeah, Checker, again. So I will turn this off and show you when I'm on the other side. So here we are on the other side, and don't worry, the dogs have no issue. There is no issue with the dogs being in here, because there are no trees. This is just plantings for biomass, and as you can see, it is also growing very well here with that sprinkler that we use